Hey there, what's up YouTube? My name is Karen and I'm a user experience designer here at Expand the Room. And today we're going to try out our first video tutorial where I'm going to show you how to convert After Effects animations into SVGs that you can use on the web. Okay guys, so first I want to show you the animation that I recently made for ETR. It's this guy right here. And I did this in After Effects and was originally planning to do it as a .mov or a .mp4 on the site and realized that there's a ton of limitations that come with this. One being that you can't make it transparent, so this nice background we have here wouldn't gel very well. And also SVGs are vector, so no matter how much we move this around, it's still going to look sharp. If you're on a Retina display or a 4K monitor, it's still going to look good. So there is a ton of advantages to SVG. I want to introduce you guys to this plugin called Body Moving. It would not be possible to do what we're about to do in After Effects without this plugin, because After Effects does not by default export SVGs. There is another Adobe tool called, it's built from Flash and it's called Adobe Animate now, and that is able to do SVGs, but it's kind of a little more limited than After Effects and something that I'm not as used to, so I was very, very happy that I was able to find this plugin. And you can get it for free. It's a name your own price sort of thing. I definitely recommend paying a little bit because it is absolutely worth it. So we're just going to go and download this, and once you add to the cart, you may have to do a little bit of logging in stuff, and then you're going to get that plugin. This ZXP installer that's on aescripts.com, and I'll link everything in the description, but basically we're going to install this, and then once we've got it installed, we're going to open it up. And we're just going to go into this download that we had from Body Moving, and we're going to drag this file over. It's gonna have to enter a little password here. And it's installed, and now what we're going to do is be able to find it under Window Extensions in After Effects. So let's open After Effects. Okay, here we are in After Effects, and if we just go up here, the Window Extensions, you'll see we've got the Body Moving installed successfully. We're not going to need that quite yet because first we have to make our animation, and if you are already familiar with animation in After Effects, you could just skip right ahead because this is pretty standard. There's not a lot of special things you need to do with Body Moving. There's, a few things that I've learned is you don't want to have open paths that you're not using. If you are keyframing something and end up not using it, could mess it up. And there's going to be lots of little things that you want to make sure is as simple as possible so that the conversion is easy. But the animation that I showed you earlier was pretty complex and I barely had any problems. So it's a really good plugin. So I guess bonus mini tutorial, I could show you a little bit of how I made that first animation so we've got something to work with. So new composition, and 800 by 600, fine with me. So we've got this template. I was actually making this animation out of a design that one of my coworkers created, so I was just using this as a template. Even though things coming over from Illustrator are vector, I did have a few graphics that were coming in from Illustrator and I was getting a bit of pixelization. I'm not sure exactly how the plugin works here, but I do know that if you're using shapes that have been built in After Effects, it's a lot easier. And luckily for my project, none of the shapes are that complex, so everything can be rebuilt in After Effects. So I will build this guy right here. So we've got right here is our screenshot that I just grabbed. I'm going to lower the opacity, maybe scale it down a little bit, and let's get started. Okay, so the animation I want is for each of these lines to build on, and these lines too, and then this dot pattern to kind of create this path on my map. So I'm going to start with the easy ones, and we're going to make some paths. So maybe I'll make the stroke path like 20. It's already the color I want. I got my colors over here. And I'm just going to go boop and hold down shift to create a straight line. And it'll draw that right in. It's going to create a shape layer for me right here. I want to get out of that shape layer because I don't want it to be on the same path. It could be. It could be another shape in the same, like it's just going to do it right now. So just go to layer, new shape layer, and that'll give you another place to work on. And we got another guy in there. We can adjust these in a little bit. Layer, new shape layer. And here's a third little line. And we could just move in. I'm doing this on my laptop with a trackpad. Not the best way to do After Effects. Well, that's okay. I'm used to it. And we can, you know, in After Effects it's a lot easier sometimes to just use these positions. But be careful, because once you start adding keyframes, it's going to record those position changes. So just be careful what order you do it in. So that's good enough for this tutorial. And now if you want these to animate on, we're going to use trim paths. And trim paths, I was a little worried with body movement that some of this more complex stuff wouldn't translate well, but it translates perfect. Masks, trim path, lots of interesting things that are pretty complex. Really kudos to the developer of that plugin. So to do a trim path, we're going to click Add Trim Path to this shape. It's going to add it to our first shape here. And so let's just, what we're going to do is, you've got a start and an end, and it depends on in what order you draw on the points. So it looks like our end is what we want. So we're going to start the end at 0. Maybe give it like a couple seconds here, 2 seconds. And then we're going to turn the stopwatch on. Maybe jump like 5 keyframes, which I can do with command right arrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we're going to move it from 0 to 100 real quick. And now, let's just animate it. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to, I like to make these with easy ease. You know, this kind of animation doesn't require a ton of working out with the speed and timing, but right now, if you're familiar with After Effects, you know that these keyframes are linear, meaning that throughout the space in between the keyframes, it's moving at a constant speed. And if we would rather, you know, make this a little more dynamic, you could do FN or whatever the Apple symbol is that allows you to use the F keys at the top. FN F9 is what I use on a Mac. And it creates, basically, if you go into the graph editor, you can see, so it's going to, this is our value graph, so let's go to speed. It's a little easier to see here. So it will slowly get faster and then slowly get slower. It's just a little bit more of a, you know, it's a cool effect, a little bit more interesting than just a linear movement here. So let's get back out of the graph editor. I can press U, and that's going to bring up my keyframes. We got a little bit lost here. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to copy these and then maybe jump like 10 keyframes over. And going to do that to shape number 2. We're going to do the same thing. Oh, first we got to add our trim path. Add. Trim path. And paste. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Zoop, zoop. Oh, we can make that a little faster. Zoop, zoop. Yep. Here, let's have it start right after. Right here. Perfect. We got that working out. And then lastly on this shape layer, add trim paths. And it's going to start right here. And now let's take away, let's hide our background there so you can see this in its full glory. Perfect. I'm going to probably make this happen quicker. No, I'll just speed this up. Could probably happen quicker, but you know, I'm just trying to make something rough so you can see how it works. Now these guys here, this was a little fun to make because it does kind of look like just your average line, but they are skewed a little bit. Layer new, shape layer. You should probably be naming these. You get a lot less confusing. Name those so that you remember what each layer is. Oops, don't use shift there. And there it is. You know, and I spent a ton of time with this animation making everything perfect. I will say that the one thing you definitely want to do is go into the shape, transform, and then skew is what I use. Oh, yeah. What are you doing? Oh, you know what? You definitely need to make sure your anchor point's in the right place. Put that anchor point in the middle. I use this tool. Yep, so we're going to... whatever, man. That's still working the way I want it to, basically. You know, so I'm going to skew this, and yeah, that's looking pretty good, and you could... yeah, it's off by a pixel. Whatever. It's still off. So you can spend a whole lot of time making that perfect. I'm going to skip ahead till after I already did this part. Here it is. We got it. We got those side lines in whatever diagonal lines, and I just did the exact same thing. Just spent a little time skewing things around, and then I used trim paths just the same way. So we got that. All right, moving on. So we want to make this little ball guy kind of pop up. Yeah, see, I should have named my layers. Look at all that. Should have named it. Okay. We're just going to keep chugging along. New shape layer. Make it an ellipse. And now we're going to just draw it on, but we don't want it to have a stroke. We want it to have a fill. That's nice. I wonder if you can hear that construction. Okay. Make that anchor point in the middle. Why doesn't it do that by default? Someone help me. Okay, there we go. We got that in. And now we got right on. I want to start right there. You could do Alt to left bracket, and that will cut everything out before this point, so I don't have to deal with it. And now, to make it pop on, we're going to turn on the scale for keyframe. Start it at 0. Move up like 10, because that seems to be what we're doing nowadays. And then, the easy way to do this, for me at least, you can also do it with the graph editor right here, but so I think I scaled it up to 117, so you just gotta overshoot a little bit. So I'm gonna do 120%, and then I'm gonna go like 5 forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and scale it back down to 115. Let's watch that little pop. Bump. Do that again. Yeah, so it's got a little bit of a bounce to it, but it's gonna be even better if we easy ease it. Nice. Okay, so yep, we got ellipsing out, and now let's work on this line here. All right, so let's just keep making shape layers like there ain't no tomorrow, and I'm gonna take the pen tool, and we're just gonna make a little patharoonie. I don't want it to be a fill, but I'll fix that in a second. I'm just gonna drag it along. I'm not gonna worry about making it perfect to this template because we're just messing here. So now I'm going to take the fill off, no more fill, and put that stroke back on. So we're just gonna do 20 pixels. Yeah, that's alright. That's alright with me. Okay, now to make it dotted, I'm going to go into our settings here, content, shape, stroke, dashes. Dash it up, press the plus. That's nice. Yeah. And, ooh, no, I don't want to do that. So to make the dashes like the way we want, we just got to make the dash bigger than the gap. If the dash is smaller than the gap, it'll be like vertical and horizontal to the dash lower in the gap. Good stuff. And then to make it rounded, we're just going to get rid of the butt cap and make it a round. Dang it. Make it a round cap. Give me a second. We gotta increase the gap. That's what there we are. Yeah. So it's just a you gotta tweak around that, but that's good for me. That's good for me. It doesn't look exactly like that, but like a screenshot, but without it, that's looks pretty good to me. Okay, so once we've got the dot, guess how we're going to animate this on? It should be pretty familiar to you. It is the trim path. So we're going to add, let me make sure I got the right spot here. Yes, we want right there is good. And we're going to do add trim path down here. Yep, oh, it moves along like a little worm thing. Alright, so just like always, let's start and make the end 0. And let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 15, right there. I know there is a faster way to do that. I know. I forget what it is. And FN F9 for an easy ease. Oh, whoa, that's fast. That's fast. Let's just stretch that out too. Yeah, it's still fast. Yeah, it's all, just like, it's all just figuring it out, really. Okay, so let's work on that X. I don't think that we even need this template anymore since we pretty much know where we want the X to be. It looks a little different, so we are going to make yet another shape layer. Layer new, shape layer. I'm going to alt left bracket just so I can cut it to where I want it to be. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and then I am just going to make a cute little 45-degree angle line. Maybe it's a little bigger. Okay, and then, so this is what I was saying before, I can put this line on the same shape layer. It actually might make sense to duplicate and rotate. So we're going to Contents, I'm going to grab this shape and copy, paste. Now we have shape 2, go into the transform for that shape, and oh, see, it's that anchor point again. I don't even know where the anchor point is for you. Oh, see, it's hiding all over there. How silly. Alright, now let's try rotating. That's what we want. It's a little imperfect. I guess what we want is like a 90, right? Yeah, whatever. I like it. Alright, so I'm gonna position this right where you want it to be. And you can actually apply trim paths to shapes within shape layers. So let's see, we're gonna do it, and at like this point we want to animate on one dash at a time. So we're going to shape 1, make sure shape 1 is selected, and we're gonna click trim path and we'll add it there. So a little keyframe, bring the end down to 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jump that up, copy it, FN F9 for easy ease. I'm going to copy those frames, close shape 1, open shape 2, add some path trimmings. Did that go in the right place? No, it didn't go right. That's okay. Make sure you have shape 2 selected, trim path, now it's in the right spot, and let's Command P and see what's it. Perfect. Alright, let's play it back from the beginning here. Zoom out a little bit for you. You'll fit it. Okay, it's not exactly the same as the one I made previously, but it'll do. So now that we have our animation complete, it is time to use the plugin to get it working in on the web. So the plugin, super easy. I have this composition that is cleverly named Comp1, the default. So we just want to make sure that, one, we want to end the composition here, so I'm just going to press N, and that's going to bring my work area to an end. And our thing doesn't repeat, but it'd be super easy to make that happen. So let us go to View, Window, Extensions, Body Moving. And that's going to pull up our handy dandy plugin. And since we only have one composition, it's the only one that shows up. Go into Settings now. There's a lot of different settings here, but the one that I think is very important is Demo. You want to check Demo here so that it will export a demo, which is basically a working HTML file that has your animation going for it. Destination folder is also important. I'm just going to make a new folder here. I'll name it SVG AE. And data.json is just the name of your SVG's data. So I'll just save it. And what we're going to do, you can preview, but you can also just preview in the browser, which is what I prefer because I know exactly what it's going to look like. So I'm going to just hit render. I forgot to select composition. There are adorable animations in this plugin. Everything is adorable. So select, and it even fills in nicely. Render. Render is finished, and I'll just select this and see it. All right, and let's, moment of truth. Wow. Would you look at that? No errors or anything. So this is SVG. It's going to keep repeating itself. And yeah, like I said, fully responsive. It looks crystal clear on my laptop. And let's look under the hood to see what is going on here. So we have two files, just two files. And if you have a text editor like Visual Studio Code or Sublime, is basically the entire code. Now this long piece right here is actually the JS, the JavaScript needed for this file. I believe if you download this code from GitHub, which I'll put in the description, you can get this code as a separate JavaScript file. And then if we keep going down, at some point we reach the actual SVG, the JSON data here, and you'll see that there is this empty div right here, and basically this is where the animation will be, the SVG animation will be put, and you could see at the bottom in this code that we are defining its container here by getting this document, this DOM element. And then the GitHub goes into further detail about how to make this work, but it's functioning. We could see it in the browser doing exactly what we would need it to do. And that is way easier than I would have expected it to be the first time I did it around. So yeah, that's it.